Hello Razor Edge community, welcome ladies and gentlemen to another Zoom live play and explain. Today we are trying to go for the leaderboard that's currently run on PokerStars. It's a small promotion. Basically what it is about is you are getting dealt hands throughout your session, and depending on how good your starting hands are, like getting often aces and kings, small suited connectors get some random multiplier. Basically, I have no clue how it works. The only thing I know is the better my starting hands, the higher my position on the leaderboard. I've pulled that thing up for you here real quick. That's the current 100 Zoom leaderboard. The Justice 2K17 guy is currently leading, and if he's keeping that position until the end of the day, which is in 14 hours from now on, he gets 1K, which is like 10 stacks for 100 Zoom. I think it's the same amount for 200, but unfortunately I already played some 200 today, and I figured I will just take you with me on a leaderboard chase to make it a little bit more spicy, give it a little bit more challenge, and we will see together how we end up and if we can make it on the leaderboard without losing more money on the tables that we win. So usually how it works is that you chase the leaderboard, lose 3 stacks, and then don't even get placed. So that's kind of unfortunate. But anyway, we will see. We'll jump right into the action, playing 2 tables. Should take us about half an hour, 40 minutes maybe. Okay, ace-jack suited is a good start. Opening a little bit smaller if I have a read that my population or the opponents are folding a little bit too much. Basically that's cheating, but we just won't tell anyone and we will be fine. 2.7 is such an awkward sizing. I always have to count in my head, like usually I go 10.5, so I make it a little bit bigger. Kings is very nice. I think we already won the leaderboard by now. 3 hands in. No, I'm just kidding, of course. Okay, it's a good flop for my range. Kind of an flop for my actual hand. Yeah, I think I can get away with betting everything small here, never get raised. He calls all the jack 9s, the 10 9s, the king 10s, the king jack. So I think I will go for 1 or 2 small streets here. And then we'll see how it goes. Shout out to Igor Durden, who is apparently a Razor Edge member. Oh, okay. Lots of checking. If I bet kind of small, I guess. And I think my hand is a little bit too thin to do so. And he has basically turned some hands into a bluff now. Jack 9, 10 9, stuff like that. To have bluffs available, I think. I think this is roughly how it works. Yeah, this sizing is pretty easy. I don't have to call anything but a straight or a flush to that sizing. Basically the price is just too bad for me to peel anything like this, and it doesn't allow him to bluff a lot. So yeah, that's kind of an easy fold. Against a cold call from a perceived weaker player, I think I stick with my Sergi and just bet small with full range. And now the 9, I think we added a bit of showdown value, so I think I try to get it to showdown. If you're wondering where the music has gone, I played a little bit without music in the past, and I really like it, and I really enjoy it. I think it's kind of helping my concentration a little bit, so I figured I keep it for this video. King 7 will be a 3-bet sometimes. Let's roll for it. Not half of the time, but I think fold is a little bit too weak, especially if he is 2.5xing. Would 3-bet that hand maybe 30% of the time against a 3x, so it's a little bit less against 2.5x. Just because the price I get for calling is better, so I want to 3-bet a little bit less and call a little bit more. King high on a paired board with a spade, I think, is a defend. I'm not in love with it, but I think I have to. And then, usually after range bet, my answer when I get check 2 on the turn is a polarized one, so I have only very big bets and very small bets, and I think this hand doesn't really fit into the big bet category, and it has a little bit of showdown value too. Not really on the queen anymore. We will figure it out. Yeah, fine line by him, I guess. Nothing to do really on my hand. Okay, we need suited connectors. We need big hands. We want to win the leaderboard. some familiar names. I haven't played 100 Zoom in a long time. Can I get away with limping here? I will try. The snap check is a really good sign, and I would read a lot into that. So I'm just gonna bet and win the pot basically every time. Unfortunately, not this one. I think if he snap checks after our limp, he basically always has air, and if he calls the turn, calls the flop, he seems to like always have a queen. Check, check. Ace deuce is a little bit too loose, I think. I'm gonna give up the 8 high here. I don't think we ever get something to fold, because the reasoning is if he snap checks the big blind, he basically says, okay, I have a hand that never raises. I have a hand that would always fold to a raise. So this hand is really, really weak. But then suddenly he starts calling on queen deuce deuce, and he's not really calling any kind of ace highs to that. So because he would raise pre, or he's not snap checking them at least. So I feel like he is like always having a queen. Maybe I'm over exaggerating, but yeah, that's how I feel about that spot. 7-6 off. I think always a call against the small blind 3x. And then I don't think I have much reason to bet that flop. Usually I should be very aggressive here, but without a heart and then barreling 2 undercards is not like super great. I would always bet a hand like 10-7 if I have that, at least an overcard to the 9, and can do something on some turn cards. And then easy fold on the turn. I don't really like his sizing too much. I think you want to go big there. Queen 10 don't know this guy. I think I'm gonna skip that one. Usually doing some 3-betting, small one versus under the gun with that hand. 7 deuce, what do you mean 7 deuce? I need like 4 or 5 suited and aces and yeah, 9, stuff like that. What do you mean? Can't be carded. 9s, okay, let's see. This guy seems a little bit on the tighter side. Not calling this 100% against the player pool. I think GTO always calls. I think for the sake of the video we can just click call, flop a 9, get a stack, you know. Close enough. I wouldn't mind him having a big betting range on that texture. He goes small, that makes my decision pretty easy. I think I always call that hand to a small bet. That's a good turn, because he checks that turn a lot, so I get to see all 5 cards with my hand, which is pretty nice in terms of realizing my equity. And I think if it goes check check, I'm going to value bet a lot of rivers. That's an interesting one. Now I kind of run out of bluffs, except for like 10-9. 8-9 I don't have so much, so I don't think I have a good spot to value bet my hand, because I don't think ace high is now inclined to hero call. So I'm gonna check and then decide on what he's doing. If he's tight and he checks back an overpair, that would be huge success for my hand. Bet check, bet big. I don't think people are value betting like an overpair now. Yeah, I will let it go, I think. And I will not try to bluff him off a very strong hand. For example, trips that he checked back, or random flush maybe. I think mine could do some raising, but from what I know about the player pool and their tendencies, I don't think it's like a great spot to turn that into a bluff. And yes, you could argue, okay, he can now bet all his ace kings, ace queen with the ace of diamonds. Yeah, obviously he could, but people just don't do that. It's just not happening. And even if they do, my hand would be more of a call than a raise, I think. Especially if this gun, if someone like is pre-flop like pretty tight and then doesn't do anything fancy, chances are high that are not that the same is true for post-flop tendencies. So yeah, folding a little bit more on the river against very big bets, I think, is a good way to approach the lower zoom pools for sure. Not saying that they don't know what they're doing, but just saying they might be a little bit too tight in those situations. Ace jack off can do some 3-betting, 85, so 15%. I think it's good. Using a little bit bigger sizings, big blind versus button, big blind versus cutoff, because my big blind range is a little bit more polarized because I have cold calls too, which I do not have when I'm in the small blind. So that's the reason why the sizing is so big. And then easy fold against the 4-bet. Queen 8 kind of close. Don't know this guy. 2.2 gives a little discount, so I'm going to flick it in there. Check, check. Don't think I have too many overbets on this turn in theory, but I'm just still going to do it. Because I think ace jack is always betting the flop. Jack 9 2. So yeah, I kind of just bet what I think my hand is worth. At least as long as I don't know that guy. Queen jack is a little bit too loose, I think. Does 5-3 suited count as a suited connector or like a suited one gapper? Probably not, right? Fuck. Still gonna open. Yes, this is too wide. This guy is short. This guy seems to not play any hands, so just gonna cheat a little bit, get punished immediately, but we flop a 3. Usually just range betting, I think, and this I think it's still true when you play like against a weaker player, because he still folds like the 10-9s, the queen jacks, maybe some ace highs, and our 3 kind of needs a little bit of protection from that overcard. So there we go. King 8-7. Usually I have big bets too. I think this is my weakest open ender, so I could sometimes check that back. 69. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna check bet that at this number. 10-8 easy fold. Basically the worst hand I raise another gun. Lots of small stacks jumping in. Maybe they're chasing leaderboards as well. Pocket jacks is good. Maybe can find a stack here. Gonna go 8.5 in these positions because I'm 3-betting so much big blind versus small blind. Something like 20%. And then the small blind has to respond by aggressive 4-betting, and then I just jam and even get called by worse. So yeah, top set helps. Jack 4-8. I think I do not bet all my hands for a small sizing. So I think I have big bets and checks, and this hand can do both. And I think top set always works as a trap. So we're gonna try to lay the trap for Mr. FCGL. If he checks turn, I think we have a mandatory bet now. Expect him to bet most of the queen X himself. Strong draws, king 10, stuff like that. Queen 9 off. Tempting in this lineup. Tempting. Goes through. No, there's no way he plays a check raise. There's no way. Okay, call is good. Tank call. Do I want to jam now? I think jam is greedy. I think I want to get the safe call from queen 10, king queen type of hands. Maybe some 8-9 that doesn't believe. I can bluff ace 10, ace king if I choose not to 3-bet that. So I will go for the non-greedy option. Okay. So yeah, pretty reliable read on the turn that he was weak when taking so long to call. But careful, some players might use that as a trap. The fake tank on the turn and then snap call the river. But yeah, someone who maybe plays this game for one, it's a pretty reliable read, and I think you can do that a lot. I think reading into timing and sizing tells is super underrated. Jack 6-8, I'm gonna check all my hands. basically as a simplification. This is not exactly how it works in theory, but it makes my life a little bit easier, and I give up a little bit of EV to have a strategy that I am very familiar with. On the 7 I can do both. 93 speaks for itself, so I'm going to use the aggressive option. Blind versus blind is kind of difficult, and I got some questions about that in our Discord. And basically my answer is like how to play small blind versus big blind. Use the tools I gave you in the videos prior, using the the strategies I gave you for single raise pots out of position, the 2 sets or more rule, stuff like that. This will kind of work. It's kind of a little bit more difficult because small versus big blind ranges are so wide that we are almost never have the situation that we can say, okay, we can simplify to a range bet to bet all our hands, and we have never the situation where we just check all of our hands. So we kind of have to mix, and this gets really difficult. But yeah, nobody really knows what's going on, so it's no problem when you make mistakes there. Getting 4-bet by this guy sucks really, really bad, but I think I'm not folding a pair. Folding a hand like King Jack suited, King 10 suited, I think. But a pair just plays a little bit better. Getting snap called, I think Jack Jack 7 is a range bet. My blockers are kind of bad. I would like to have the ace of diamonds. That would be cool. Or ace of clubs to block ace jack suited. But I have the king of clubs, which is kind of cool. Now he has one combo of king jack suited. I'm gonna bet small again. Put 9s, 10s, 8s in a tough spot. Value bet my ace king still. He has less king x than I do. And I go for the triple block. Yes, this is dangerous. He could just jam and I fold pretty often. Let me roll for the king queen. But it also allows me to bet hands like this and put him into a tough spot. And this is an easy fold against the snap jab. The queen on the left. Sometimes betting, sometimes checking. Queen is kind of good for him too, so I don't mind checking and then go from there. Yeah, so the ace king basically wants to block for 3 streets. Gonna value bet hands like this. He has like, why do I have to play with cold smart? Hey. Seems like this guy knows me. Maybe a raise your edge member. King queen I think does a lot of calling. No raising really. The 10 is kind of unfortunate because I think he's shutting down bluffs now. But yeah, there's no, yeah. They're kind of never bluffing this river, which is fine, I guess. What did he have? The good old king 8 off. King 8 off. So this board, I think I don't have big sizes in theory, but I still will do it because he seems to like his hand and seems to like calling, so I will give him the chance to call a lot. Yeah, I'm not really scared of the diamond. I'm gonna bet again. He's just too many hands of these 10 jack, jack 9s, 8 9s, stuff like that, that will never fold to this turn bet, at least what I think of this particular player type. So yeah, I'm gonna bet again and fold if I get raised. Okay, the min raise I'm not gonna fold, obviously. Still folding on blanks, but I think the price is just too good and he can be random too. Brick river, now deciding, I think, based on sizing, folding very, very often, I think. Half pot, seems like he wants to get paid. Ace queen does a little bit of 4-bet bluffing, and I think I should do that now with a 98 roll. Not in love with this. Min raising turn, half potting river. Tja, should fold river, I guess. Should fold river. The thing is, or the reason is why we bet flop and bet turn is like people like calling, looking you up. Oh, this guy folds a lot to 3 bets. I'm gonna flick in some queen jack off. Don't try this at home, maybe, unless you flop 2 pair. The reason is people are so call happy, so I widen my value betting range and bet very, very thin for value. And once they end up raising, they usually have it. The river sizing is kind of tempting to call, but I can see a hand that's just min raising and then betting that size on the river that we beat. Oh, that's actually a good turn card. Let me just play these hands. Kind of unfortunate run out. No, it's perfect run out. I take that back. Perfect run out. I love the ace, so I don't lose my stack against 2 pair. Okay. Let me quickly pause, go over those 2 hands because they're a little bit out of line. Not out of line. A little bit, yeah. This hand always raises in theory. Like it's not even close, but against 3/4. I'm afraid that people just play their hands, so I'm gonna be passive and do a little bit more calling. I think this is 100% raise in theory, even against that sizing. But this guy kind of showed, okay, that's a terrible overbet. Then I'm pretty happy with my call. Okay, quickly back to the A7. Yeah, this was kind of the out of line one. But basically, I get to bet range, button versus big blind, so I bet all my hands, and A7 just fits pretty good in there, as any hand will do. Not sure why I said that, but you know what I mean, right? Betting all my hands, no checks, no exceptions, and the deuce basically now counterfeits his king jack. It makes him less likely to have king deuce suited, jack two suited, pocket twos, and he is in a very tough spot with any jack x, with any king x. So basically, against my sizing, his king x, or most of his king x, are already indifferent. What does that mean? It means that against my strategy, it doesn't make a difference for him if he is calling or folding king x. Basically, it has the same EV, so he gets into a very tough spot with all his bluff catchers. He starts already bluff catching on the turn, and he has likely have the same decision on the river again if he faces a big bet. And I have so many more good hands than him on this turn card that I use this spot often to heavily overbluff. That means everything that kind of has an overcard fits very well because an ace is likely live. He's not calling any ace highs to this big sizings. I have the ace of clubs, so I have a very effective bluff on club runouts, because if I only bet my flush draws on the turn and my backdoor flushes on the turn, I will never have a bluff when I make my flush, right? So I need these hands that look kind of random into my bluffing range to actually have bluffs on flush runouts too. So that's the theoretical thought behind it. The practical thought is people don't really have good call down ranges in this spot, so I will just go and attack that as massive as I can, or as far as they allow, so to speak. Queen jack, I went for the 3-bet, which is obviously never a 3-bet in theory, but in practice this guy, I had like, I don't know, 1.5k hands on him, and he showed that he's folding a little bit too much on the button, so I flicked that in. Only having small sizings on the flop, because both players flop a lot of straights, so ace 10 and 10-9 suited are in both ranges, and if I want to bet hands like this for 3 streets even, it's the same basically for ace king. I don't want to isolate myself against a better hand by betting super big, but I use a lot of small sizings to keep like worse hands in, that will call my bets, so that I'm able to value bet even a hand like ace king or a hand like queen jack for multiple streets. The same is true for on the turn. Small block bet has the same effect, or the queen 10s are drawing pretty thin now, jack 10s, but they can't really fold. The ace jacks, the ace queens, they all need to call because of the price I give, but they're drawing very thin against my hand, so it's a pretty good line, I think. The ace kind of saves me here in this situation. I think mandatory check. I would check a lot of my straights as well. And yeah, pretty good run out. I thought it was a terrible run out, but it was turns out to be a very good one. On a blank, I probably, like if the deuce comes, I probably go broke here. Very likely. So yeah, that turned out pretty well. Okay, now back to the leaderboard chase. We need to make some good hands. Get some good hands. to get placed. And maybe we start making money. I think we're down now, so okay, let's just see. 10-9 is a good start. I didn't see his stack size. Should open a little bit smaller so that I don't lose that much when he jams. 10 deuce. Threes. This guy seems to be a fish, so I think I have a cold call range now. Usually not advising that, not doing that really. Kind of random. And get punished immediately. Yeah, check raises on monotone boards is not really a thing, so I didn't really expect that. Fair enough, good sir, for punishing me to step my threes there without a club. I think he folds a lot of hands like queen jack of hearts, queen 10 of hearts. So I think my bet is not that terrible. Jack 10 usually folding almost always in these positions, unless I get a very good price. So I'm going for the call. Yeah, good sizing, I guess. Good sizing, I guess. Can't do much. 7-5 doesn't count as a suited connector, I'm afraid. Man, I think we're whiffing the leaderboard like by so much. I don't think we even get top 100. But we will see. Pocket nines are helping. Okay. I think this price is a little bit too much for my hand. Let's see if he gets called. He doesn't. Okay. Yeah, usually I always take notes when people do that. So when they do it a second time, a third time, I can safely assume it's not aces or kings or ace king. 6-10 off, 10-9 off. This is the guy who jammed. Oh, he's German. Ay. What are you doing, friend? Ace-9 off. Damn. Guys, I think the leaderboard is a GG. But we are only... How many minutes are we in? 26? Yeah, I think we're not done yet. Very tight open raiser. I think queens are a mandatory 4-bet. And a mandatory cold 4-bet. Get it in. Can I go smaller? I can go a little bit smaller, I think. King 5, check. Gonna check again, bluff the river. This is not the greatest river, but I still will try. Good luck, Carlos. 10's not good. We win the first one. Oh, and the King 5 went through as well. Sets everywhere. Very nice. I think his jam is a little bit too loose. I would call that hand very often. But it's understandable, right? A very tight player open raises on the button. So if he's very tight, it means that he's folding a lot to 3-bets. So I will be 4-betting or code 4-betting a little bit wider, because I think Carlos is going to take advantage of that. And if he thinks I'm too wide, then his jam makes sense. So yeah, can't really give him shit for that. I think even in theory, 10s sometimes jam. So yeah, fine, I guess. Unfortunate for him. A3 gonna take the check here and make the nuts on the turn. No action, Jackson. So yeah, now we're a little bit into the green. Now we can like get into the leaderboard and actually maybe make some money on 100 Zoom. 9-7, I think a tiny bit of 3-bet, but never a cold 4-bet. Three off. What am I going to do? Ace-9-4, I think pretty easy range bet. Nothing really to add to this. With a spade, I think I could overbet now. Without, I think my hand is a check. Have a little bit of showdown value too. Against his king high, queen high, backdoor flush draw floats. This sizing I don't think makes too much sense. He basically says he has ace 4 or better, and he definitely wants to bet a hand like ace 5, ace 8 for value now. So I think he's splitting ranges, which is not too great. So yeah, because he doesn't really want to bet like ace 8 for that sizing, I guess. Could be wrong, but yeah. I just think that you want to take care of the other parts of your range too. A polarized one makes sense. I wouldn't go small, but I think overbetting is a little bit tough to get all your hands into one range. And then it's always pretty easy to never overbet your bluffs and always overbet when you have it, because the hand basically tells you what you do. If he has like a very strong hand, he just goes, oh yeah, I'm gonna overbet. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm gonna be polarized anyway. And if he has a bluff, he's like, oh, I'm gonna go 60% maybe, he folds. Huh? I'm kidding, of course. But yeah, could be. That could be the thought process. I wouldn't be surprised if that's true. Jack 7, Jack 3, pocket threes, get some points maybe. Can play it. 2.2x, 3 ways. I think I'm gonna call this hand over a hand like King 10 off. Plays a little bit better, but still it's kind of garbage, so doesn't really do much for you. Range bet, wob wob. I could lead that. Do I have any kind of action? Okay, my hand is kind of not a great candidate to do that, but do I want to wrap a 10 now? Yeah, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. 3 against 3. I think I'm gonna raise right away. Lady Squirrel seems to not believing that line by me. Okay, that went through. Okay, bet call. I don't have any ace. I have ace jack actually. I think I'm gonna bet again. Against the ace queen, ace king, ace x of diamond hands that are never folding to a big sizing. And if he jams, I snap fold. Because I don't think he ever jams a weaker hand or a draw like that. And I'm kind of uncapped. I have king queen as well. I have ace jack as well. So that's a horrible river. Come on. Now I lose to everything. Ah. God damn it. Yeah, but I think betting turn very, very big to get the safe calls from ace queen, ace king, ace x of diamonds is very, very good, instead of checking back turn and then betting the river. So yeah. Now we lose. Oh, we win. We win. How did we win? How did we win? King 9. Oh man, that's so good. It's so good. Oh god. That went pretty well. Kind of saw monsters on the bed. Yeah, that was a fun one. I like that one. How am I allowed to win this? Jack 7, easy fold. I think the weakest Jack X hand will continue as like Jack 10. King Jack against our overbetting friend. Maybe we can take one from him. Okay, we are in 230 hands, so a little bit more. Ooh, 4-8-5 is not like our flop. Checking a lot, then check raising a lot. But my hand just doesn't do any check raising because there's absolutely nothing. A hand like King 10 of hearts would check raise a lot. A hand like Ace 3 if I have that. And then my value range would be a 9s plus. So yeah, King Jack unfortunately just has no interest in doing anything. Betting my 9s big here. I could also bet small a lot of the time, because on this texture, when the flop goes check check, I basically attack his air. and I could attack that by having a small sizing, and that will make him fold queen 10, jack 10, some ace highs. So yeah, out of habit, or out of my hand tells me the bet sizing, I just sized up big. King 4, why not? So yeah, and I think this is what happens a lot when you look into the lower zoom pools, that people are sizing, or that the player pool is sizing their hands rather than being aware of what their range wants to do. So they see their hand and they compare their hand to the situations they are in, and then they're just sizing like that. And they are never really thinking about, okay, what does my range wants to do here? Like, how does this spot work in theory? Like, what is my bluffing range wants to do? What are my value hands going to do? What sizings do I want to pick? And they just, yeah, it's way easier to just look at your hand and, yeah, I'm going to bet big because I have it, and I'm going to bluff small because I don't. So yeah, if that makes sense. Jack 8 against the 4x. I'm going to roll, actually. Small range bet here, queen 7-7. Could be a little bit more careful on the 7-7x boards, because the big blind has a little bit more of the offsuit 7x. But then again, he has to be very aggressive bluffing to put me in a tough spot, and people just don't do that. Do I check again? Do I check, I mean? I'm gonna bet small again, make him call ace high flush draws if he wants to. And I don't think he's ever raising a 7, which is kind of cool. And I don't think he's ever bluff raising anything. So. And now we have a free showdown, which is like super, super cheap. 9s usually would 3-bet a lot, but this guy seems to be very, very tight, so I'm gonna skip. Super easy if he's not raising that. We lost like $16. That's awesome. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. $3 on the turn, nothing on the river. Nice. I like that. And that small siding on the turn again. I do it a lot, I know. Except, especially in this video, I did it a lot. But the situations kind of made sense. 64, 3-betting this hand 1/3 of the time, I think is okay. Range betting queen 7-7. This is a little bit better spot. The queen 7-7 big blind versus under gun is way better than big blind versus button, because the big blind is not calling hands like 7-8 off, 7-6 off to my open raise from another gun. So yeah, it kind of makes sense that we get raised here, right? You get the point. Why the 7 is a little bit worse in later positions and a little bit better in early positions. Six, 10 missing. Oh, and again, I got so much, or we got so much great feedback for the course material, and for all the updates we are doing right now. I would like to say thank you for all of the kind words and the feedback, and I really, really appreciate that, and I really like to see you guys crushing with our material, with our content. I usually come back to everyone that sends over feedback in the public channels, or we have private messages in the Discord. However, it gets like so much that I might have overseen 1 or 2 posts, I don't know. So if that's the case, I'm very, very sorry. I really appreciate the feedback, and yeah, thanks for that. If you haven't already, check out our new cash cam course. It came out February this year, and we are updating this once or twice a month with a big topic. This month will be 3-bet pots in position, actually. Big topic, very interesting. Last month was check raising after defending a big blind. Interesting one as well. So yeah, make sure to at least consider looking into the course. It's very, very good content, lots of work into that. And again, yeah, I appreciate every one of you, and thanks for all the good feedback. Before I forget, before I end the video, right? Man, we will not make it into the leaderboard, I think. I think we will not make it, but maybe. We are not done yet. Sixes is very close. I think if I roll a 75 or higher, I will go in 3-bet. And other than that, I don't see a reason why I should cold call. Jack deuce 3. I think a7 is a little bit too good to start stepping because it can win at showdown. Yeah. Now we definitely win at showdown. Let's see. We have an ace. That means he has less ace high. Ugh. Which are the hands we are targeting right now. But I don't think I have a small betting range, so I think only big and checks is good. Ace king against our wop guy. No action. 9 deuce doesn't count as a suited connector. 7-6. I think I will open if I get the chance, because the big blind seems to not play lots of hands in that position. So yeah, especially if you play like 50 zoom, 25 zoom, 10 zoom, having a good HUD definitely helps, because there are situations people are massively overfolding, especially when they are in the big blind position. Some people do not, and they play just perfect frequencies, like close to perfect. Let me just quickly look at the 7-6. I think 25 is good, close, but no cigar. Deuce 5. I think I have to bluff. And I don't think I have a small sizing here, because I basically bet straights and some 2 pairs or better. So my value range is pretty polarized. I'm not really blocking a jack. He calls queens. I think, yeah. Okay call. I'm not really in love with it. But since I know myself, I'm probably heavily over bluffing. So I think his call is fine. 9-7. Yeah, against the 3x, I'm definitely folding. Against 2.5, I think I'm calling. Pocket 9s. No 4-betting here. I think the worst hand we are 4-betting is pocket 10s, and then this goes into 100% call. That's a pretty bad flop. Ace 8, nothing to do there. Sometimes, like, I think 5% bluff 4-betting maybe with the Ace 8, if I remember correctly. But yeah, all these low frequency, fancy stuff, you can just skip most of the time. Easy fold on the Ace King 8. And not sure if I can make a mistake against the big sizing. A7, I could consider open raising. Folded a little bit too quickly. King Queen suited, always 3-betting. That counts as a suited connector, right? 6-5-2. Oh, now we got the multipliers. Now we are getting there. Kind of a chill session, 100 zoom, not too much happening. 6-5 suited, I think I'm gonna bet full range. And always calling the king queen suited, I think, to a 4-bet. Yeah, usually this is a pretty good spot to overbet, I think. But this guy seems to be pretty sticky. I'm still gonna do it. 11, king queen backdoor flush draw. I don't think I can fold yet, at least in theory. Easy fold on the turn. Oh, 6-5, deep in the tank. That's a good sign, I think. I don't think he's fake taking. Can't really bluff diamonds, can't really bluff clubs. So basically we're hoping for a brick that we can bluff our hand again. Checking. Yeah, I think this one is my bluff then. Blocking kings and queens. And he check folds ace high to our small block sizing. I want to block my 10s here too. My jacks, my 8s. And once he check calls, I think I'm giving up. Because I think now he's folding all the ace queens and all the ace kings. He shouldn't really have checked jams. I wouldn't mind it, but I don't think it's like super effective. So it could rather be, okay, that he's check folding a lot if he doesn't have it, and then check calling once you have it. And I don't think check jamming accomplishes too much. Because he, like, what is he bluffing with? Kind of hard to find bluffs for that line. Yeah, I don't see a reason to open that hand. Jack 9 suited, sometimes 3-betting. 56 is a little bit low. So, and otherwise, if I don't bluff with those flop floats on the turn, then I can't really bet my 10s and jacks like that, because I would always have a value hand, right? Half pot seems to be a call. Ace queen, always 3-betting. Yeah, I don't really think you want to do lots of overbetting here on the turn. I have king jack 2, I have jack a2. My hand is a little bit better for calling, and he showed in the last hand, in the king 9 hand, that he's pretty passive with draws, so this hand might be a better call on the turn than a hand like king 10 or 9-8. Check and pray for the bet, I guess. Do I raise? Yeah, even if he jams, I think I have to call, but not super in love with this situation in general. He has to bluff hands like, okay, this is an easy call then. So yeah, because people tend to underbluff those lines, but I think his line is fine given the hand he had. But again, let me just quickly check how many hands we are in, and then we can maybe check the leaderboard. Oh yeah, we're in. Okay, good. Quickly, the last hand. Okay, before I get 4-bet by get crunk, and then I can just snap fold. Okay, that's good. Last hand. Okay, so flop having a half pot sizing, I think it's okay. I go small because I think people are under check raising. You could also go have a polarized approach, because I have pocket 9s, I have queen 9, I have pocket deuces, I have all the jack 10s, king 10s, king jacks, 10-8 hands. So a lot of connectivity between the queen and 9. So I would like to see a very big sizing or maybe a very small sizing. I think both kind of could work. This is something in between. Maybe he has done some work on that. Maybe he doesn't and just, yeah, does what his hands tell him. But yeah, I don't want to discredit anyone. So yeah, probably fine. Mine, I wants to call, but I want to talk about the turn really quickly. Again, both players make straights, and he wants to bet hands like king queen now for value. He wants to bet hands like ace queen. Queen jack I think is a little bit too thin, but I could see him betting that as well. He want to have his draws, he want to have his ace jacks, maybe his ace kings, stuff like that. So I don't think that lots of overbetting makes sense, because I can have all the nuts too. And if this was like the deuce of clubs, I think only overbetting makes sense, because now I'm kind of screwed. Even my queen 9 is not in the nuts anymore. So yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, but I think the 10 is like equally good for me, that he's not really want to have a lot of overbets. And on the river, I think his bet is fine. I think he wants to jam a lot. If he has king jack, for example, jack 8, and even a hand like kings could jam now, because my queen 10 is now counterfeited. I don't have that many 9x, because a hand like ace 9 very often folds the turn, because it's so hard for me to improve on the river. So I had like jack 9, as I explained while playing, is like the superior turn call to a very big sizing, because I don't have really a tough river decision ever. I rather improve or I don't. So yeah, and I think that he has jams on that river for sure. And with pocket kings. I'm not saying that everyone is doing that, but I could see as you move down the ladder that people just size that way because they have pocket kings and not king jack or jack 8 or tens full. Because I could see the greedy river jam with all the nuts, and then with kings they just do, yeah, I'm over betting but not too much, because I still could be beat by a 9, right? And the same goes for hands like ace queen or king queen that could pick that size. And then they are kind of, yeah, you know basically where the error potential comes from, right? Then they have jams and they never really bluff with those, and then they have like those bets. Maybe he has a third sizing which is $25. We don't know, and this is all a prediction. I'm not saying that this player is doing that exactly like that. I'm just saying it could be, right? It could be, and then it would be kind of, yeah, not really a mistake, but yeah, it doesn't work like that, and it's kind of easy to counterplay that. And I want you guys to be aware of sizings and of patterns and of what should happen often, and if it's not happening or if something different happens, what does that mean, and how far can you deviate from GTO and exploit that, right? Okay, now we're gonna look at the leaderboard and see if we made it. I have like, okay, let me just pick the 100 one. Okay, one second. We made it to 51. Okay, that's pretty bad, but we already saw, based on the hands we got, that we kind of not really got anywhere. So yeah, let's for the video, place 51. I will try better next time, see if the leaderboards still run. We will try again, maybe on 200, and then yeah, go from there. Thanks for watching again. If you have any suggestions about the video, any ideas, any terms of feedback, again, let me know. I can only do better if you give me some feedback. If you want to get some private lessons, coachings, you can always message me on Discord, ask for anything you want to know. And other than that, I wish you a very good start to June. I hope COVID goes suck a dick, and we will all be happy in 2021 in our summer coming up. Okay, bye bye, until next time.